urban state. One wrong for one mistake, and they take the plate. PAGA notices stacking high, frivolous claims that make you ask why. Yeah, you need a shield, you need a plan, you need the facts straight from the source. We're charting a new course, of course. Fight the good fight on the right side. It's on the California labor law Odyssey tonight.
Good evening and welcome to the California Labor Law Odyssey After Dark. I'm your host, Tom Manzo, and this evening we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Todd Fiske, CEO of Catalyst Forward. Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tom, how we doing? Good
Thanks
to see
for
you.
coming on. Nice to see you.
Well, thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it.
So, talk to me. Tell us about your business. What do you do?
Well, I always say that our commodity, so to speak, is people. So we invest in people. And what we do is we provide resources to large distribution centers that help them support their business. So, I mean, the glorified term would probably be a temp agency, but we specialize.
You're better than that. Todd's better than that.
We specialize in much more than that. What's unique about our service is that we provide not only like direct hire labor, temp to hire labor, long-term support, but we also partner with our customers and clients to help support them. So we're not just a fly by the night at the type temp agency when things start to get a little rough or the water start to get a little deep or there starts to be some trouble or some legal issues. We stand by our clients on a regular basis to support them. And I think that's what's made us successful in our relationship as we continue to do business.
How many employees do you have?
We're right now about 150 employees,
Okay.
and we have about 6 different divisions that we currently support in Southern California, and then 1 division in Nevada.
In Nevada?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. You ever go gambling there?
No, I don't have time, unfortunately.
What do you have a lot of clients?
We represent 6 different clients right now, so we're relatively a small business. We're constantly on the lookout for clients and new business.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always open for referrals, but we do like to have the opportunity to talk with different clients to see if they're a good fit for us as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So the individuals that we partner with, we don't just build relationships to just get business. We build relationships that somebody we know is going to be a strong partner in the future where we feel we can help support them the most.
Right.
And we've had a lot of like one-off clients that, you know, for direct hires that may need a driver or might need a human resource manager or might need an executive. So we've done a lot of small time partnerships with those clients as well
Mhm.
too, who reach back out to us when they have those specific unique needs.
Got it. So how long has Catalyst Forward been around?
Well, Catalyst Forward, it's been around for about 7 years.
Okay.
But I've been doing this. I started this business about 13 years ago.
Okay.
You know, we originally started as a company that did small time staffing support that's eventually led and built into Catalyst Forward. And Catalyst Forward is the business that really grabbed momentum. And I have 2 really good business partners with me that we have a good equal support system that allows us to support each type of the business in our specialties and allows us to continue to grow.
Right. What do you think makes your business a little bit more unique than some of the other staffing agencies that are out there? I mean, I know you mentioned relationships. Relationships are huge. They're important. But, you know, is there a certain specialty, a certain focus? Like, what makes you different than everybody else?
I think what makes me different is I was born and raised in a warehouse environment. So when I first started working in warehouse, I've been in this business for about 30 years.
Wow.
And I started as a loader unloader, right? So I've loaded and unloaded trucks. I've worked as an order selector. I've worked as a forklift operator. I've worked in a lot of different capacities throughout the industry. And I was able to grow in that business to the level of a vice president. And the companies that I worked for in the past allowed that kind of growth. So you don't get that specific skill set without having that knowledge and being entrenched in the different types of environments. And I think the other thing that makes us successful is we're a people business. We know exactly what's important to our clients because we listen to where their headaches are at.
Right.
We listen to what makes it difficult for them to find good people. We are able to support and take the time to investigate and look and interview and find the right individuals that fit into that slot to where our retention rate's about 80%, more or less. So we have a really good retention rate
Good
with
for you.
associates.
That's awesome.
And on top of that, I think it's the personal relationship that we have with our employees as well as with our clients. I think that makes the difference for us, because our employees are just as important as our clients are, and we want to make sure that our employees are taken care of too, even though they might be working on somebody else's site.
Right.
So we partner with our clients to do different things, to support them in safety barbecues, to support them in safety incentive programs, to support them in opportunities, allowing our employees to either get hired on and move forward with the company, or move
Right.
into different levels and capacities within our clients.
Right. So I've always felt that, California, great opportunities, land of opportunities. Small to medium-sized businesses are the backbone of the economy. Our organization, California Business and Industrial Alliance, we're a huge supporter of small to medium-sized businesses, and we really advocate for change, labor law reform, because it's so difficult to do business in California. We have an 1,100-page labor law. We've got laws like the Private Attorney General Act. We've got highest insurance premiums in the country on everything, high tax, highest gasoline. How in God's name is gasoline higher here than Hawaii? I have no idea. When
Right.
we've got a bunch of anybody's ever driven to, Bakersfield or Taft. We've got some people out in Taft we love. You know, there's tons and tons of oil wells. Why is it costing us so much money? So it's difficult. And when we say, hey, we complain, we push back, we continue to hear, well, we're the fifth largest economy. Well, we're the fifth largest economy. It doesn't help us.
Right.
It doesn't help our situation. And with all that being said, as an entrepreneur, as an owner in a small business in the state of California, how difficult is it for you? What are some of the things that you face?
Every year it gets more difficult, because it seems like every year we're facing a new regulation, a new requirement, a new premium, a new insurance, additional employer taxes, additional employee taxes. And the tough thing about it is that at some point in time, you have to make decisions on, you don't want to increase costs to your clients. You want to continue to support them the best that they can.
Right.
Most of them understand, because they're experiencing it as a large organization as well,
Correct.
too.
Yep.
But I think the thing that gets me the most is premiums and insurances and workers' comp and regulations that kind of go unregulated. So
Let's talk to me about workers' compensation. How does that work for you? How do you feel the rates are? How do you feel the system is here in California?
I think because California is such a litigious state, that the rates are extremely high. And I think a lot of companies are fearful to continue to do business in California because of that heavy regulation. And the difficult challenge is, you can have a great mod rate. You could you could do everything right. You can have very low injury frequency, and you can work with your clients to build good safety programs and incentives. But you're still going to get sued, I guess, is the easiest way to say it.
Right.
And what makes it challenging is simply that every time you have a legitimate injury, you want to make sure that the employee is taken care of. They go to the clinic, they go through the process. If they're off work, you want to make sure that they're taken care of during that time frame. But a lot of times you may have other types of claims out there that you don't have a support as an employer. And I'll give you a couple examples. Let's say you have somebody that just has a generic injury, out of the blue, says, something hurts. So you do all the right things, and then that individual will go and file a lawsuit. Well, those attorneys know that you're not going to go to court, and they know that it's going to be an automatic win for them. And at some point in time, there's going to be a settlement. And their whole goal is to drag that process out as long as possible to get as much money as possible. And the person that's hurt the most, besides the employer, is the employee, because they're taken advantage of.
Absolutely.
Right? They're told, you're going to get this big settlement. They're told, we're going to do everything for you. And so they follow this process, and they're out of work for however long. And then they get a small little settlement. The attorneys get a big piece of the pie. The judicial system gets a piece of the pie. And then you end up having
The
to settle out.
chiropractors,
And the chiropractors get a piece of the pie. The
the
clinics get a piece of
doctors,
pie.
the clinics.
Yep, because once somebody gets litigated, they're out of the regular clinic scene, right? You don't get any visibility.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is work directly with your claims adjuster to try to get that claim closed.
Yeah.
And so just imagine that one case times 100, right? And so the workers' comp carriers realize that there's a huge amount of cost and a huge amount of exposures in these based upon the history that's happened within this country. And they know that employers have no support, but they also know that we have to have insurance. So every year they have to take this barometer and engage and say, Well, based on the job codes that you do and based on the environment that you're in, it's going to cost you 12% to insure each one of these job codes against whatever your payroll is. So you imagine you have your payroll dollars, and now you've got to pay 12% of that in a workers' comp premium every single year. And to give you some ideas, workers' comp premiums 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe we're in the $100,000 range. Now premiums are all the way in the $400,000, $500,000, or even $600,000 range.
That's a gigantic increase.
It is. And how
I'm not even sure what the percentage is. Roberto, what's the percentage increase on that one? We got to check the percentage increase. I mean, it's huge.
It's huge.
It's absolutely huge. It's astounding how much insurance premiums have went up, especially in the workers' comp arena.
Yep. And you have a small market to shop in, right?
Not as big anymore.
Yeah. And now
And
imagine
you recently just were discussing prior to the show that you had an experience where somebody actually dropped you.
Yeah. We had an insurance broker, a very large insurance broker who we did business with, leaving California. And they're leaving California because it's too costly to do business.
Yeah, there you go.
So they pulled out 100% of their,
litigious.
and it's not just me that it affected, right? So imagine some of the larger companies and the larger employers that they represented, they're being told we're not renewing your policy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
Roberto,
now
what's the percentage increase?
Says approximately 55% since.
makes sense. Yeah.
And how do you can't, how many more costs can you absorb? And I think what a lot of our viewers might not understand, as minimum wages
Continuing to climb.
that continues to increase your premiums as well on workers' comp, because it's based on payroll.
Yeah, and everybody has this vision that, oh, you own your own business, oh, you're a CEO, oh, you must make billions and billions of dollars, and it's not that picture. The picture that people don't see.
So I can't ask you for a loan after the show?
Definitely not. The picture that most people don't see is that if you made a quarter, right? If you take this quarter that you made, 50% of that quarter is going into liabilities, costs, employers' taxes, insurances. Another 25% of that is going into making sure that you're maintaining your business and able to have resources available to continue to support your company. And then you have maybe like a small 5% of the business that's profit, if you make profit that year, right?
It's tough. It's tough now.
Yeah, and so it's very tough. So you have this pie that's continuing to shrink. And small business owners, whether they're in the type of business that I'm in or whether they own a restaurant, everybody's going through this, and they're challenging increasing costs of minimum wage, increasing costs of workers' comp insurances, ability to shop, the market is shrinking. So and then you have all
even
these
property liability insurance.
Yes, liability insurance,
auto insurance.
yeah, and then you have PAGA. You also have PAGA. It's another element that's uninsurable. Nobody will insure it. So now you have to figure out a way to keep yourself protected, so that you can find a way to be successful to navigate through those waters. So
I hate to even ask this.
Yeah.
So do you have experience with PAGA?
Yeah, unfortunately, way too much experience with
That's
PAGA.
not good. That's not good. Everybody.
It's definitely not a good thing. I mean, we've come a long way. Hans, I understand in the very beginning when this process started, there was a lot of companies out there that weren't following the right processes and practices. Completely understand. But I think the direction that it's gone in is completely frivolous, because even though as employers you make changes, you could be 98% compliant on everything that's asked of you to do, and you can still be exposed to this type of litigation. And this litigation is never small, and it's constantly huge, and it's ongoing for years.
And what kind of things are you being accused of?
Oh, not paying lunches in the proper time, or employees saying that they never get to take their breaks. And even though we've gone through years of training, we can show that their lunches were paid for. We can show that, their breaks were taken. We can show that none of those things are a factor. But in this pool of 150 employees, let's just say we're 95% compliant.
Right.
We're not perfect, and nobody's ever going to be perfect. There's always going to be situations that cause a person to delay their lunch. But
I mean, if you take your lunch 5 hours and 2 minutes, you're 2 minutes past the 5th hour, it's a labor law violation.
Yep.
That's how insane the 1,100-page labor law digest truly is.
Yeah, and here's the crazier thing. is that you can have somebody that takes their lunch 1 or 2 minutes late, and you can pay the premium because you're staying in compliance.
And what does that mean, paying the premium?
You got to pay an hour.
1
You
hour's
got to
worth
pay
of
1
pay.
hour's worth of pay
Because they were 2 minutes late for
because they were
lunch.
2 minutes late for their lunch.
Now, you have a facility, or you service the Nevada area.
Yes.
Does Nevada have that kind of law?
No, they don't.
They don't.
They don't.
So
And
if somebody takes their lunch, if they clock in at 7 in the morning and they clock out for their lunch at 12:02, you don't have to pay a meal premium.
they're fine, and they can even have the choice not to take their lunch and get a full 8 hours or 8.5 hours pay with no penalty or premium. They get to make that choice. So there's a lot different regulations in Nevada than it is in California.
So do you like Nevada better than California?
Yeah, very much so.
And see,
There's no doubt about it, you know?
this is a big issue that a lot of employers are facing, and I think the state's not addressing. So what you have is you have people that are considering expansion, and they're not going to expand in California.
Yep.
They'll keep their base in California, keep their base customers in California, and expand in different states.
You know, I've spoken with other colleagues, and they pulled their business out of California for that reason, and they no longer want to do business in California for that reason, because they can be profitable and successful and keep people employed in other states. And what a lot of people don't realize, and this probably should be talked about more, but they don't see the other side of it, right? They don't see the side of this employee who files this complaint and these attorneys who coach them in what to do, and to go out there and recruit other people to file the same amount of complaints, which eventually leads to some sort of class action lawsuit. You get yourself in a class action lawsuit. It's this multi-million-dollar lawsuit, right? So let's just say it's $5 million, right? Out of that $5 million lawsuit, how much do you think the employee sees? How much does that one employee get when that claim is settled years later?
You know what? Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to pay some bills, and when we come back, I want to hear the answer.
Sounds great.
Fight the good fight.
Are you a business owner that's been targeted by a frivolous PAGA lawsuit? Hi, I'm Tom Manzo, founder of the California Business and Industrial Alliance. I'm a businessman that started a group to fight back against the trial lawyers and the politicians. We're even suing the state to fix PAGA. If you're ready to join the fight, call us 1-888-FIX-PAGA. That's 1-888-349-7242. Welcome back. So, Todd, this is a great conversation. I mean, great in the sense that I think we're educating more business owners, more people in your shoes, some of the challenges you do face.
Yeah.
Because we want to take this to market. We want our legislators, we want other business leaders, advocates to see these are the struggles that business owners truly face.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a lawsuit. We're talking about a $5 million payday, right? And you're saying, hey, wait a minute, a lot of people aren't really looking at, well, what does the employee end up with? So what does the employee end up with?
I mean, and from my perspective, only from what I've had to deal with,
You've
right?
been there, you've experienced it.
I've been
you know it.
experiencing it, yeah, and I'm experiencing it as we speak, unfortunately. But that employee will end up with a very small settlement, maybe $10,000, $15,000
Mhm.
tops. All the other employees that are involved may walk away with a $50 to $100 paycheck,
Wow.
and the repercussions can be fatal. And what I mean by that is, if a small business can't afford a $5 million lawsuit and they're going to be required to go through this process, it could close them down. So that means 100 plus employees can lose their job in a moment. All for what? All for an employer that may have been 90 to 95% compliant, doing the right thing. You have a group of attorneys out there that are like sharks looking for these opportunities.
Absolutely.
And they're seeking out these smaller businesses, especially businesses like ours that are partnered with a larger corporation because they see a bigger ticket.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, it's the attorneys that walk away with the majority of that lawsuit. So between the attorneys and the courts and the judicial system, the attorneys are the ones that walk away with a big pool. They don't care about that one employee. They promise them the world and they promise them big settlements, but at the end of the day, they get a
It's a
small
billion
settlement.
dollar. It's a bill. I call it $1 billion racket.
Exactly.
And it's extorting business owners.
Yep.
And it's redistributing wealth. Who's getting the wealth? The attorneys.
Yeah. And if here's another thing, Tom, if employers are bad and employers aren't doing the right thing, they should be held accountable and they should be penalized.
Right.
And what I don't understand is, why isn't it regulated like OSHA? Why can't we have, the government can still have their, regulatory compliance.
Mhm.
And then when an employee has a complaint, it needs to go to that particular board for review. That review board can contact the employers and hear both sides of the case and then make a determination. And at the same thing too, Cal OSHA can knock on your door at any point in time that they want to and have a discovery audit, and it could be based upon a
Right.
complaint or it can be based upon something else. Why can't they just do that for
In
employers?
my dealings with OSHA, they've always been fairly reasonable
Yeah,
up until recently. It seems recently their hands are a little bit tied, and they're not as flexible on fines and things as they used to
yeah,
be. Although, it was a system that did work. And I think the biggest issue is, imagine if you handed off OSHA violations to private attorneys.
exactly.
It would be the same outcome as handling, wage and hour violations to attorneys. And that's the biggest issue, is everybody's abusing the system.
Yeah,
It's a complete abuse of the system.
as an employer, you want to do everything you can to correct things, right?
Right.
Because we're not perfect. And to give you an example, when you had an OSHA complaint or a violation, and OSHA came out and they conducted their audit and they found this, whatever the situations may be, you have the opportunity to go to the appeals board and say, look, we understand we made a mistake. Here's all the corrective actions we put in place. Here's the policies that we changed. Here's the thing that we've done to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Right.
And then you can hopefully get a reduced penalty. And maybe you get a reduced penalty, you pay your fine, and you've done the right things that you need to do as an employer. Should be the same process. If somebody has a complaint saying that, hey, I didn't get to take my lunch, I never get to take my break, they come out and they conduct an audit, and in the audit they find the handful of employees that there's this specific violation.
Right.
You can do the same thing. You can go say, look, I've educated all of our supervisors. Here's the training courses we put them through. Here's the understanding. Here's the policies and practices that we put in place to audit ourselves and make sure these things don't happen again. And then you can be fined a penalty for whatever it may be, but you have the opportunity. It's not a punitive process anymore.
These conversations, I'm glad it's after dark where we can have
I
them during.
know, right?
The biggest issue is, as employers nowadays, we're always guilty until proven innocent.
Correct.
And it doesn't matter if it's the Private Attorney General Act. It doesn't matter if it's a wrongful termination. It doesn't matter if it's somebody reporting an employer to the labor board. No matter what, you are perceived guilty until you prove your innocence.
Yeah.
And the problem is, to prove your innocence costs money.
Yep.
It costs attorney fees.
Yep.
And you're spending money and time that takes away from your business. It takes away from the business's growth. It takes away from the business's opportunity. And that's the frustrating part for me.
Yeah.
Because we've totally lost the scenario here. You're not protecting the employees. You're empowering the employees to go and file a lawsuit because they were terminated because they come in late every day, because they're doing something wrong every day.
Yep.
And now employers are terrified to terminate somebody because, oh my God, this person's going to probably come back and sue us. Employers will even say, well, I'm going to sue. I'm going to sue you for doing this. It shouldn't be that way.
Shouldn't.
Sometimes in life, employees need to learn these lifelong lessons. If you come to late to work every day, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
Not, I came to late work every day and I took my lunch late 5 minutes and now I'm going to sue the company and create this class action lawsuit. This is not the system's completely broken as far as I'm concerned.
Or the other scenario where somebody's taking a constantly late lunch, you have to discipline them in the process to correct the behavior. They don't correct the behavior, you terminate them. Now they go to these attorneys and say, they terminated me for taking my breaks.
Right.
Or they terminated me for taking my lunch, when that's not the case, but that doesn't matter. Only that side of the story matters. And I don't know any other state other than California that you can drive and every other billboard is sue your boss if you're not happy.
Absolutely.
Sue this if this happened
Harassment.
to you. Exactly. So it's almost as if they have the opportunity to breed this culture, and the employees see that and say, ooh, I want to do that.
Right.
Or maybe there's some free money in it, or whatever the situation may be.
Retirement money.
Mhm.
I've seen employees that, are in their mid to late 60s. All of a sudden, it's a work comp claim. It's a wage and hour claim, and they're looking at this as retirement money. What concerns me the most, Todd, this is what concerns me the most, and even sitting here talking to you, is in today's environment, we're doing a disservice to the employees by allowing them to have these kind of lawsuits, to go to lawyers anytime they're disgruntled. They're seeking attorneys when a lot of times they need to be disciplined, they need to be terminated, they need to learn a lifelong lesson. And we have entrepreneurs who are saying, I don't know if I want to expand. I don't know if
Yes.
I want to do a business here in California.
Yep.
If I do, I'm going to go somewhere else. So we're defeating two of the most important people in the state of California.
Yep.
And it needs to change. We need to change it.
Yeah, it definitely needs to change. And it's only getting tougher. I mean, you have a measure out there, the SB 1052, I believe it is now, that's going to regulate or attempt to regulate what businesses have choices and who they use to partner with.
Right.
And that's extremely scary to me. Imagine small business owners now have to go and pay to be part of this governmental program. And then even when you pay, you still don't know if you're going to be selected or not. And now if I was on the opposite end and not in a temp agency business, unless I was in the food distribution business and I'm
Right.
looking for a temp agency to partner with,
Right.
and I've known you for a few years and I know you're a great guy and I know you're going to find me good people and we have a good cohesive working relationship. Well, if you're no longer part of this program now, I don't get to do business with you. Now I'm forced to choose from whoever the government says they believe is compliant in
More
the right
government
process.
overreach, more regulations. They're
Yep.
trying to pass more bills this year to make things more difficult for business owners. Nobody's just stopping and taking a breather and saying, hey, we got to do things a little
Yeah.
bit different.
And it's all in the name to reduce workers' comp fraud. Tell me, Tom, how's that going to reduce workers'
Yeah.
comp fraud? It's not.
Yeah.
It's all in the name of transparency. It's not. There's plenty of regulations and laws in place that we're held accountable
That
to
have been
now,
for a lot of years.
and no change needs to be done.
Right.
If I go to my client and I produce them a workers' comp and GL certificate of insurance, it shows that I have insurance. Now, if
And in Todd's industry, normally that's what you have to do with your client.
Yeah.
You always have to say, hey, I've got workers' compensation. So do we need to regulate something that's already been in place for many, many years?
Exactly. And if I'm an evil person and I cancel that policy, I'm the one that's responsible if that individual gets
Right.
hurt, not the client,
Right.
and that to me, that's a humongous exposure expense that no agency, no support system ever wants to go through. And they use the term, well, it's going to get rid of these flyby agencies that pop up and then when they get in trouble, they disappear and pop up under another name.
Right.
Okay, well, go find legislation and policies that don't allow people to do that and find ways to hold them accountable instead of trying to pool us all into this one scenario where your choices are only going to be big, humongous corporations and agencies that are going to lobby for them being the only ones that are in this pool.
Absolutely.
So to me, that's really scary. And every small business owner and every small business should get with their constituents to vote no on this particular measure because it can be a measure that's going to
What's the
affect
measure
us.
again?
SB 1052.
Vote no, SB 1052.
Yeah.
Let's try to end on a positive note. You got any final thoughts at all? We could talk about anything at this point. We talked too much about how tough it is to do business.
I think one of the most positive notes that I can address is the ability to have conversations like this on a forum where we can educate people and small businesses that may not have the opportunity. So I hope that this goes viral, and I hope that your sessions go viral so that people can stand up and really believe in they have a voice, they have an opportunity, and they have a chance to make a difference. We just need to step out of our comfort zone and support the right policies and the right practices and the right people.
Awesome.
That's what makes the difference.
Thanks for having
Thank you.
yourself on the show.
Appreciate you, Tom.
Being part
Thank
of
you.
the California Labor Law Odyssey After Dark.
Let's get it done.
To all the viewers out there, we appreciate you watching, and let's try to support small to medium-sized business owners. Let's help. Let's make some changes. Have a wonderful evening.